Ladies and gentlemen, the title of my speech might have caught you off guard. Stop being kind to everyone? It sounds harsh, maybe even unkind. But stay with me. Kindness is one of the most valued traits in any society. We're often taught to treat others with compassion, generosity, and patience. However, while kindness is noble, it becomes unhealthy when practiced without limits. The truth is, not everyone you encounter in life has good intentions or deserves your open-hearted generosity. When you extend kindness indiscriminately, especially to those who misuse it, you're not uplifting others. You're slowly draining yourself. The energy you invest in trying to please or help everyone doesn't replenish itself. Conclusion: being kind without boundaries puts you at risk of emotional exhaustion and exploitation. In our attempt to be good people, we often fail to recognize when we're being taken advantage of. Many of us mistake constant agreeableness for strength, thinking that saying yes to everything is a sign of character. But true strength comes from knowing your limits and protecting your well-being. When kindness becomes an obligation, it loses its sincerity and turns into a burden. The result is an ever-growing resentment that silently builds within. Conclusion: when you are kind beyond your capacity, kindness turns into self-betrayal rather than an act of goodness. The modern world celebrates selflessness, but it rarely talks about the cost of being overly available. If you're constantly giving to everyone, emotionally, mentally, or even financially, without any return, you eventually run on empty. Just like a phone battery, people need time to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with themselves. When you give too much of yourself without a break, you lose clarity and begin to feel detached from your own needs. Conclusion: a kind person who's always depleted cannot sustain kindness in the long run. It's a cycle that leads to burnout. Kindness without discernment often leads to one-sided relationships. In such situations, you're always the listener, the helper, the one who checks in, but no one checks in on you. You give your time to people who wouldn't do the same for you. Slowly, you realize your kindness is not being reciprocated, only consumed. This imbalance can lead to deep feelings of loneliness and unworthiness. It becomes clear that not everyone deserves full access to your care and compassion. Conclusion: healthy relationships are mutual. Being kind should never mean settling for less than you give. There's also a danger in using kindness as a way to avoid conflict. Many people say yes when they want to say a no out of fear of being disliked or causing friction. But suppressing your true feelings in favor of keeping the peace only builds inner tension. You're not helping others by pretending to be okay. You're just hiding your discomfort. Over time, you become resentful, anxious, and emotionally exhausted. Conclusion: kindness should come from honesty, not fear. Otherwise, it becomes a mask that hides your real emotions and needs. We must remember that kindness is not the same as being a people pleaser. People-pleasing stems from insecurity and the need for approval, whereas true kindness is grounded in self-respect. When you're kind because you choose to be, not because you're afraid to say no, that's when kindness becomes powerful. Letting go of the need to please everyone frees you to make intentional, meaningful connections. It also allows you to focus on those who genuinely value your presence. Conclusion: real kindness is a choice, not an obligation. It requires confidence and boundaries to be sustainable. One major consequence of unchecked kindness is the erosion of self-worth. When your value comes solely from how useful or nice you are to others, your identity becomes dependent on external validation. You begin to believe that your needs come second, that your voice doesn't matter. That kind of mindset is dangerous and hard to break. Over time, you forget how to stand up for yourself, or even recognize what you truly want. Conclusion: being endlessly kind at the cost of your self-esteem diminishes your identity and sense of worth. There is nothing wrong with being selective about who receives your kindness. In fact, doing so makes your kindness more meaningful. When you set boundaries, you're not being rude or selfish. You're being wise. It shows you understand that your time, energy, and emotional space are limited and deserve to be protected. You're not closing your heart. You're just choosing to open it to the right people. Kindness, when given intentionally and mindfully, becomes a powerful force for good. Conclusion: True kindness thrives when it's rooted in respect for others and, just as importantly, for yourself. To live a life that balances kindness with emotional well-being, you must learn the art of saying no without guilt. You must learn to walk away from people and situations that drain you. You must prioritize your mental and emotional health above social approval. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means being clear about who and what deserves your energy. Your kindness is a gift, not a currency. Don't spend it where it goes unappreciated. Conclusion: kindness is most effective when it's practiced with wisdom, self-awareness, and strong personal boundaries. Many people confuse being kind with being liked. In an effort to be accepted, they end up molding themselves to others' expectations, even when it feels uncomfortable. This habit, known as people-pleasing, may seem harmless on the surface, but it comes at a high personal cost. When you say yes to things that don't align with your values or needs, you chip away at your identity. Pleasing others becomes a full-time performance, not an act of kindness. Conclusion: people-pleasing is rooted in fear, not compassion, and often forces you to betray your authentic self. The desire to be liked can cause you to prioritize others' happiness over your own, even when it hurts you. You may agree to tasks you don't have time for, stay silent during unfair treatment, or pretend to be okay when you're struggling. These actions aren't done out of love or generosity. They're acts of self-protection. But protecting yourself at the cost of your truth creates a false version of who you are. Conclusion: constantly pleasing others hides your true emotions and silences your voice, which is the opposite of real kindness. True kindness flows from a place of self-awareness and confidence. It does not demand applause or approval. It's given freely without losing yourself. In contrast, people-pleasing is a fear-driven reflex, born from insecurity and a deep need to be validated by others. When you only feel good about yourself if someone else approves of you, your kindness becomes conditional. It's not real generosity. It's a transaction. Conclusion: real kindness is grounded in self-respect, while people-pleasing is a performance designed to win temporary validation. People-pleasers often fear rejection more than anything. They believe that being agreeable will protect them from conflict or abandonment, but ironically, this strategy backfires. You end up surrounded by people who like the version of you that always says yes, not the real you. You don't build authentic relationships by being fake pleasant. You build resentment and confusion because you're not expressing your true needs. Conclusion: the fear of being disliked causes people-pleasers to sacrifice authenticity, which ultimately blocks genuine human connection. Another damaging effect of people-pleasing is the emotional toll it takes. When you continually ignore your own boundaries to make others comfortable, you build inner frustration and mental fatigue. You might appear cheerful on the outside, but inside you're running on fumes. Eventually, this leads to burnout, anxiety, or depression. You can't take care of others while abandoning yourself. Conclusion: real kindness includes caring for yourself. Pleasing others while neglecting your needs is unsustainable and emotionally damaging. Saying a no is one of the healthiest things a person can learn to do, but people-pleasers often struggle with it. They fear it will make them appear rude, selfish, or ungrateful. But the truth is, saying no is not a rejection of someone else. It's an affirmation of your own priorities and values. Being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. When you say no respectfully and with intention, you protect your well-being and make space for honest interactions. Conclusion: setting boundaries through a no is not unkind. It's essential to protecting your time, energy, and self-worth. People-pleasing also limits your personal growth. When you live to satisfy others, you suppress your own dreams, opinions, and individuality. You stop taking risks that might offend others, and you avoid standing out in order to fit in. Over time, you lose touch with who you truly are and what you want from life. Life becomes a series of compromises instead of a journey of purpose. Conclusion: real kindness honors your potential. People-pleasing, on the other hand, holds you back from becoming your true self. People can sense the difference between authentic kindness and forced niceness. When your kindness comes from a genuine place, it fosters trust and warmth. But when it's rooted in fear or neediness, Others may feel manipulated or uncomfortable. People may even start to take advantage of you, knowing you won't stand up for yourself. That's not kindness. It's vulnerability without protection. Conclusion: authentic kindness creates respect. People-pleasing attracts manipulation and erodes trust in relationships. In order to shift from people-pleasing to real kindness, you must first believe that your worth isn't tied to others' opinions. You are valuable, even if someone disapproves of you. You are enough, even when you set limits. Being kind doesn't mean being available to everyone all the time. It means being honest, respectful, and grounded in your truth. When you honor your needs, you model a healthier way of connecting with others. Conclusion: true kindness begins with self-acceptance. It's not about being liked by everyone, but about living with integrity and care.